How are we doing, guys? LUFC, Leeds United won, Manchester City won, and if you didn't think Leeds United were back in the big time, we certainly do now. What a result, guys, and what a performance. This is a post-match review, so there's so many things to go through. There's so many things to go through because I can't quite believe what I've witnessed over 90 minutes there. I just can't quite believe what I witnessed over 90 minutes. I made so many notes on the game. I mean, where'd you start, guys? Where'd you start? I mean, Bielsa today, El Loco, got it absolutely spot on today. I mean, we've learned so much about the new players, especially. I think Rodrigo, Robin Koch, I think in the last 2 games, you've learned so much about them. I think today especially. I mean, the character, the guts, the determination, they look like international footballers today. They look just top players. You know, I think the recruitment to this football club just looks absolutely fantastic. You know, absolutely fantastic. You know, you're talking about 45 million spent there, but they've just got a result against Man City. They both stood out against Man City. You know, it was a team performance today, but you learnt a lot about those 2 new players especially. You know, I think the first thing to start off with though is the system. Obviously we went back to a back 4. There was some mention of would we go over back 3. You know, we saw Leicester the week before against Man City go over back 3 in a 3-4-3 shape and obviously absolutely dominate the game against, well, not dominate the game, but get a fantastic result against Man City. But we weren't tempted to do that. You know, we stuck to our own principles and went for 4-1-4-1 shape. Obviously 2 centre-backs for there, 1 striker, but they didn't really have a striker playing today. Again, I'll go on to that in a second. So it was a 4-1-4-1 versus a 4-3-3. You know, City, you know, our shape, you know, as you all know, we obviously Meslier, Ayling, Koch, Cooper, Dallas, Phillips, Costa, Click, Roberts, Alioski obviously coming in for Harrison, and Bamford, and obviously Man City went with Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Laporte playing together for the first time, Mendy, Rodri, De Bruyne, Foden midfield, and then up front was where it was quite interesting. You had Ferran Torres on the right hand side, Sterling on the left, and Riyad Mahrez playing as a false 9. So it was interesting, really. You know, I think the big thing to take from this game is, look, I'm not one for stats myself, you know, in terms of judging a football game solely on stats. But how often do you see a Pep Guardiola team or Manchester City have less possession than the opposition? There were times in this game, you know, 20, 30-minute spells where we had over 60% of the ball today. And look, possession's not everything, it's all about what you do with it. But that's the key thing here. We not only put our own philosophy on the game, you know, our own beliefs in terms of Bielsa ball, we stopped Pep, you know, juego de possession, you know, we stopped it. You know, a probably awful pronunciation, but juego de position, you know, we stopped it today. We stopped it. How often do you see that? How often do you see Pep Guardiola teams have less of the ball? It's not often, and we've got to take great pride from that. And look, you know, I'm not just going to say we won the possession stats, you know, battle. I'm not just going to go on about that, but it shows how well we played today and how well we put our own philosophy across and how much we stopped Manchester City's own philosophy. But yeah, you know, I thought we played really well today. I thought we really did play well today. Probably, you could make a strong case for that being the best performance out of the first 4. I think certainly second half, it was absolutely unbelievable. I'm still starstruck by what we produced today. Look, the first 20 minutes was chaotic. And it was just a spell of the game we had to get through. You know, we had to get through that first 20 minutes. I just thought we dropped a bit too deep. You know, we were making a lot of errors in the build-up. You know, Meslier was giving the ball away a couple of times. Dallas gave the ball away a couple of times. Everyone gave the ball away a couple of times in the build-up, and it was just a difficult first 20 minutes that for us. And obviously we conceded early. Sterling, you know, look, you know, Meslier's misjudged the pass. He's played the wrong pass for me. You know, he's put in a really risky area. And obviously the ball's come to Coops. Coops hasn't really put a particularly good clearance on it. Not a great clearance at all. And then sort of Sterling's gone past Coops. That's a really good finish, to be fair. And look, it's a quality moment off Sterling, but it was probably avoidable from our point of view. But look, we responded. We responded really well from that. Really, really well. You know, really well after that. But yeah, just looking at my notes here. And I think, you know, after that, what really started to gather our belief was when Alioski had that chance. You know, of course, you could say it's a half chance, but it's one he probably could get on target. Obviously, Ayling putting the ball into the box. And from that moment, that was our first attack of the game, I think we really started to work out that Man City, in terms of defending their flanks, are not good at all. In terms of defensively, there's massive question marks there. Yeah, we can talk about Diaz and Laporte, who I thought were absolutely superb today, to be honest. I thought they held that Man City defence together, to be honest, because Walker, and Mendy especially were absolutely all over the place at times. I think Mendy, you know, against Poveda just struggled for pretty much, you know, 75 minutes until he came off the pitch. But that's another point anyway. But yeah, I think what really changed the game for me was we were braver. We were just braver and really showed what we were about. You know, obviously we still went man-to-man marking, but we started to really press higher up the pitch. You know, I think in the first 20 minutes, as I've already said, we were too deep. But in the sort of after they scored, we started to press them and really chase Man City, and we caught them. We caught them a lot of times. You know, I think obviously, you know, they struggled a bit more to play the ball out the back. You know, because we weren't giving them any spaces to go to. Costa was pressing Mendy, Alioski was pressing Walker, Click, Roberts were both pressing, you know, Rodri in midfield, and then I think De Bruyne and Foden had to drop deeper then to get on the ball because they couldn't transition the ball from attack to defence to attack anywhere near as quickly, you know, after that point. And yeah, obviously when De Bruyne and Foden start to drop deep, it's much better. You know, I think De Bruyne and Foden are absolutely outstanding in the final third, but in terms of picking the ball up and driving it forward, I still think there's better midfielders in the world at doing that. I think the strength of those two is in the final third, and we've managed to sort of take their strengths out of the game a little bit, and I thought we did a fantastic job on both. You know, from sort of the 20-minute mark onwards, and over the 90 minutes, we did a fantastic job on both of those players. And I mean, you just look at that, and we just forced them into so many mistakes. You know, at half time, you know, I thought we were unlucky to be behind. You know, we had a really good spell before the half-time whistle, and obviously the second half. I mean, the second half was played at such frenetic pace, such pace in that second half. I mean, it's just breathtaking. I mean, if you watch me and Joe Wayman on the watch along, I mean, we just couldn't get a breath. We could not get a breath in the game. It was end to end, and we were just producing moments. Poveda was taking on his man, and everything. It was just so lively. You know, it was tackles. It just had everything about it. Chances, big misses, just goal mouth action, quality passing, quality moments, errors. It just had everything about it. It was chaotic. You know, it was chaotic. There was no control really. It was just chaotic. You know, in terms of what was happening. But I say there was no control. I thought we were superb for spells in that second half. We were the better team. You know, it spells in that second half, and I think obviously, you know, it's probably for me in terms of football in the Premier League, I've not seen a half like that for 10 years. 10 years since I've seen a half at that kind of pace, that kind of level, in terms of just consistent, just attack after attack from both teams, and just end to end and quality and mistakes. But it was just so high quality. It was just so high quality. You know, we talk about there was no control, but it was just because both teams were just, you know, it was just like a tennis match, a ping pong match. It was just end to end, end to end, end to end, end to end, and then a Formula One race as well. It was just like zoom, 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 zoom. It just didn't stop. You know, the second half, it's just, I don't really know what I was doing there, but it just didn't start that second half. I didn't want the second half to end, to be honest. I know the 1-1 was a great result, but it was just such a good game, that second half. It was just two world-class managers, you know, facing off against each other, and that's what you saw from that game. You know, no one wanted to just take 2 touches. Everyone wanted to do everything 1 touch, 2 touch, and it was just fantastic. A fantastic spectacle, you know, to watch from that point of view. And yeah, obviously we've had great chances. Alioski, as I've already mentioned. Obviously Rodrigo was getting his goal. Aylan had one where he's just Cruyff turned Laporte, and it's a great save. I mean, it's an absolutely superb save off Ederson. I mean, Ederson was absolutely incredible today. Absolutely incredible today. I know he made a mistake on our goal, but the saves he's pulled off today, 2 or 3 truly world-class saves today from him. And for me, he was City's best player by a mile. And yeah, you know, our shape out of possession was just absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. We set traps all over the place, you know, where everyone was in good counter-attacking positions, especially second half. Rodrigo Moreno, I mean, the positions he was picking up were absolutely superb. He was a threat every time we got on the ball. We were a threat every time we got on the ball. We launched the counter-attacks, we sustained the counter-attacks, and we were just brilliant. We were just brilliant. I mean, there's no other word for it. We were just absolutely out of this world on the day. I mean, you won't see many teams do that against Man City. Look, you know, the goal was soft. The goal was soft. We all know that. The goal was soft. And, you know, maybe on another day, we don't give away that goal. And we start the game, you know, in terms of the way, you know, we didn't have those first 20 minutes, and we were at that intensity for the first 20 minutes. So I think we definitely win the game, to be honest. I think we definitely win the game. There's no question about it. And obviously, I think Mike Dean's performance today, I've got to talk, I don't like talking about the referee, but Mike Dean's performance was simply shocking today. I mean, not much more you can say about that. I mean, how Mendy stayed on the pitch, I'll never know. You know, 2 or 3 times, not just once, 2 or 3 times. He's just taken out Costa, Poveda, without even attempting for the ball. Obviously got that early booking. How's there no second yellow there? How's there a no second yellow? You know, how's there no second yellow? He's not even attempted to get the ball. He's elbowed Poveda in the face at one point. You know, and that's why I'm so proud of it. You know, Mendy is a good left back. Excellent going forward. Technically, he's absolutely out of this world, Mendy. You know, in the amount of times I think you saw in that first 20 minutes where he's just stepping out of the defence, taking on our players. You know, he's a left back at the end of the day. He's an unbelievable player. You know, he's one of Bielsa's, you know, best kind of projects for me in terms of what level he's got from Mendy in terms of technical quality. But he does have mistakes in him defensively. And then the way we kind of, the trouble we caused Mendy on the day was absolutely incredible. And the fact we're saying that Mendy got desperate at times in that second half, where he probably should have got sent off. I think if he had been sent off, there'd been absolutely no complaints about it. I just can't see how he didn't. But look, I'm not going to complain about that because there's nothing to complain about. Our performance was absolutely superb, and we'll carry on like that for the rest of the season. We're going to be absolutely fine for me. We're going to be absolutely fine. Look, I'm not going to talk about league position so much, but in terms of stabilising ourselves as a Premier League club, if we maintain these levels, you know, absolutely no problem with that at all. You know, I think the quality will tell. But I mean, obviously, I've already talked about Ederson's performance today. Unbelievable, unbelievable performance. I mean, the saves, that Rodrigo save, will probably save the season for me in terms of when it happened as well. The way he got the touch onto the bar, it's just an unbelievable save. And I think the City changes they made with 20 minutes to go showed a great deal of respect, not only to Bielsa, but also to the football club. We should take great pride from that as well. The fact they brought on Fernandinho and went with 2 defensive midfielders to try and wrestle control back. Obviously Bernardo Silva came on. You know, they made changes you don't normally associate with City. Normally when City are chasing a game, you think they'll put as many attacking players on as possible. But ultimately, they saw in that game that there was a chance they could lose it. You know, I think ultimately the draw was a fair result. I think taking that first 20 minutes, City were well on top and probably should have been a couple of goals ahead at that point. But after that, we more than matched City, and I think a draw was a fair result ultimately. And City did have a good last 10. Fernandinho came on because Fernandinho is an excellent footballer. I think Man City always look poorer for not having him on the pitch. And yeah, you know, that showed the respect Man City had for us. It wasn't Fernandinho coming on for Rodri. They went with 2 holding midfielders, and they saw the game out. I'm not criticising that from Man City because ultimately it was the right decision. You know, at that point the game was that chaotic, we could have quite easily won it. It was good management from Pep Guardiola. He acknowledged, you know, our quality, and you know, it's unbelievable really, guys. You know, because when Pep Guardiola, you know, first started out, he was managing, he created the best football team in terms of on the eye I think I've ever seen. You know, in terms of Barcelona 2008 to 2012. And you think where Leeds United were at that point, you know, 2008, getting beat by Histon, losing the playoff final, being in League One, struggling to make the playoffs in League One, struggling to get out of League One, then doing nothing in the Championship in mid-table. And now we've gone from where Pep Guardiola was at that point to how far back we were in League One and just doing nothing in the Championship. And now, sort of, you know, 7, 8 years later, you know, from when Pep left Barcelona and where we were, to then meet in this kind of game and have more of the ball, it's just phenomenal. And it's why Marcelo Bielsa is quite simply a world-class manager who's amongst the true elite of his occupation, and there's just no question about that for me. And look, you know, I think the big thing for me is talking about substitutions. I think the timing, not just the substitutions we made and the impact they made, obviously Poveda, Rodrigo, Leif Davis, it was the timing of the substitutions. They were all absolutely spot on, exactly what we needed at the exact points. You know, obviously Alioski came off, Poveda came on. Not to say Alioski was poor, Alioski wasn't poor, but he came on for tactical reasons. We were chasing the game at that point. Poveda's better one-on-one. Costa went onto the left-hand side, and we looked really well balanced. And obviously Rodrigo came on, you know, sort of half an hour to go. Massive impact. You know, we quite easily could have won the game after Rodrigo came on. And Rodrigo, for me, you know, I know he didn't start the game, but for me, was man of the match. He was man of the match today. I'm going to go on to that in a minute, but for me, a host of absolutely superb performances. I think Rodrigo was the main man, but we'll go on to that in a second. And just the timing was superb of the substitutions. Obviously, Leif Davis came on for Click. I'm not sure Click picked up a knock or not. 100% passing accuracy today from Matthijs Click. 100%. Playing against his former Wolfsburg teammates, who obviously was ahead of him in the pecking order at the time, Kevin De Bruyne. And a 100% passing accuracy, because he controlled that midfield for large spells of this game. He was absolutely superb again. And it's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm going to use that word, disgrace. He was not a nominee for Premier League Player of the Month. It's an absolute joke. Look, I'm absolutely made up for Paddy Bamford getting in there. Paddy Bamford thoroughly deserved to get in there. But the fact is, you know, you've got all strikers in there. You've got to have some midfielders in there. Absolute joke that he wasn't in the Premier League Player of the Month. But it doesn't matter, because Matthijs Click next week will be going on international duty and playing against more world-class midfielders. I think he's playing against Italy. I would not bet against him having a brilliant game against Marco Verratti, next week. I would not bet against him doing that at all, because he's absolutely top class, guys. As you know, as I've already said, he is absolutely top class, and this step up is too easy for him at the minute. It is just too easy for him. If you give him time, he's just going to dominate games, and that's what Man City did today. But yeah, Bielsa's bravery tactically was unbelievable. I mean, to go with Rodrigo on the pitch and have so much attacking talent on the pitch, Rodrigo alongside Click as kind of like your midfield, to go that attacking minded against Man City, when you know what Man City can do, and to stick to your principles that much, especially after the first 20 minutes, it'd have been so easy after that first 20 minutes for us to just go into our shell, or go into a shell, and just go into panic mode, but we didn't. We stuck to our principles. We adjusted the game slightly. Bielsa did that. He's asked us to press a bit higher, get closer to City, get tighter, force turnovers, and we did that. And it was an absolute tactical masterclass from Marcelo Bielsa today. But to talk about Rodrigo, when we talk about masterclasses, I mean, his third man runs in that midfield. I mean, I've always said I didn't really think Rodrigo was a number 10. I've always seen him more as a centre forward or wide forward. But today, and I mean against Sheffield United, there's no coincidence. When he's come on the pitch in both of those games, we've looked a much better team. Against Fulham, in that first half when Rodrigo played, we were absolutely dominated that first half against Fulham. There's no coincidence anymore. Rodrigo is a top class player, and even if he's playing that position, he brings so much to this team. He brings so much energy to this team. I've got so many notes on Rodrigo Moreno, and maybe he can play deeper. Maybe Rodrigo Moreno can play deeper. He was just out of this world today, Rodrigo Moreno. I mean, every single time he got on the ball, you felt like something was going to happen. He had control. Against Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Rodri, Fernandinho. Unbelievable performance from him today. Unbelievable. And he deserved more than one goal. I mean, I've always said about that save of Ederson. Unbelievable. And that effort he had that hit the bar on another day with more luck, he gets a hat-trick. We could have got a hat-trick today. We talk about this against Manchester City, one of the best teams in the world. For me, the team with the most technical quality in the world. Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, Ferran Torres, Bernardo Silva, all these footballers, and we've done that today. Absolutely great praise for us today. Unbelievable praise for us today, because we played an unbelievable team who I still think will push Liverpool for the title this season. I don't think they'll win it, but I still think they'll push Liverpool for the title. I think they've made some good recruitment. But yeah, I mean, the fact is, City swapped left backs. City swapped left backs against us. Let this sink in. Manchester City felt that threatened by Leeds United. They didn't trust their left back to stay on the pitch, because our winger had the beating of him. We were targeting him all the time. We were getting past him all the time. They swapped left backs. They put a centre back onto left back to try and close off that left hand side. I mean, that is absolutely superb from our point of view. To force a team of that quality into that kind of decision. And yeah, I mean, obviously Davis and Poveda are the future of the club. They are massive futures for this football club. Probably the two players I look at and think are absolutely immense. Unbelievable. I'm so happy for Leif Davis, today. So happy for him, because as you guys will know, obviously I did that interview with Leif, and he's such a top fella, He's such a top fella. I mean, his focus, how humble he was, how determined he was, and for him to get this opportunity in a game of this magnitude for his Premier League debut, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And we did a great job, to come on at 1-1 against Manchester City. We're fighting for the title, still, could go 8 points behind, absolutely throwing everything at us, trying to throw everything at us, and Leif Davis has come on with 15 minutes to go at left back, and he's just done absolutely fine. he's just done absolutely fine. You would not have known that was Leif Davis's first game in the Premier League. Absolutely such a good performance for me. And you know, him and Poveda, I mean, were so good today. To step up in the game of that magnitude, they are amongst the future of this football club. You know, they are the next era after this current one, hopefully. Or they might be a big part of this current era, who knows? You know, if they keep playing like that, you know, they're going to force their way into this team. Just look at more of my notes here, so many notes. I mean, you know, I've already said about Matthijs Klick. You know, it's a disgrace he wasn't Player of the Month, or amongst the Player of the Month nominees. I won't say it was a disgrace he wasn't Player of the Month, because to be fair, Dominic Calvert-Lewin fully deserves that, or whoever gets that. You know, if it's Calvert-Lewin, James Rodriguez, whoever it is, deserves it. But ultimately, for Matthijs Klick not to be acknowledged as one of the top 8 players in the division was absolutely unbelievable for me. Unbelievable to have that many strikers in there and not have a midfielder or defender or someone else. Unbelievable for me. The bias towards stats and goal scorers is absolutely unbelievable. But look, it is what it is. Hopefully, you know, he's going to be a contender next month, because I'm sure if he carries on like this, he certainly will be. But guys, just a bit cautious that my camera battery is going to go in a second. Anything else? Guardiola had no answers today, and this is why Marcelo Bielsa showed his quality, because the easiest thing to do in football is to teach your team to defend and just to sit in the low block and get a result or nick a result. The hardest thing to do is to tell them to play in this way against a world-class team. And that is what Marcelo Bielsa achieved today. And what he achieved against Liverpool, he showed no fear. He went toe-to-toe, nearly got a good result against Liverpool, got a result today, and could have won this game today. Marcelo Bielsa is world-class and an icon of this football club, and an icon in the minutes of English football. He's rejuvenated the Premier League along with Carlo Ancelotti, to be fair, and a couple of other managers. The Premier League is now one of the leagues to watch, and that is because of people like Marcelo Bielsa coming into this league and just bringing that extra identity into it. I'm sure rival fans will comment down below, having hate towards us, but Leeds United are 5th in the Premier League table, having played Liverpool and Manchester City after the first 4 games, and possibly could have more points. Marcelo Bielsa is absolutely incredible, and one of the best managers in the world. I'm going to leave it there, guys, anyway. He might even be the best.